I think the declutter in my collection and declutter series that I have been looking forward to most is my eyeshadow palette declutter. I love my eyeshadow palettes. I love going through them. I love feeling inspired again. I don't know how much I'm actually gonna declutter. I feel like I'm a little estranged from my eyeshadow palette collection, so I really want to look at this collection as a whole and see what I'm still using, see what's too old. And I did give myself a goal this year. I really wanted to try more eyeshadow palettes. Last year I tried 25 new eyeshadow palettes in a full year, which is still crazy, but it's not a lot for a beauty YouTuber, I feel. So I wanted to try more different brands, try more new launches. I definitely did. My collection grew a lot, so it's time to go through it and declutter. So let's get into it. Okay, this is the last declutter I am filming. This is gonna be my eyeshadow palette declutter. I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes that I'm still reviewing or are ready to be in a new makeup updates. I have realized that I have a lot of makeup and my collection has grown by a lot this year. Of course, that was somewhat of a conscious decision. Also, I did get more PR this year. I'm gonna be trying to tell you what I got in PR. If I forget, I will put like a little PR stamp somewhere in the corner. And the palettes that I've tried this year but didn't like, I am gonna declutter, but I'm not gonna like give away just yet. I'm not gonna throw them away just yet. I don't like giving away products that are bad. I don't know if I have any like truly bad products, but the ones that I'm decluttering that were from this year and I don't like them are gonna be like still in my collection, but just put to the side for the worst of 2024. All right, I'm gonna put some of these palettes to the side. I have much more than I could fit on this table, so I just thought, well, let's start out with a little taste of it, but we're just gonna go through them one by one. Alright, first palette here is the Flower Nose Moonlight Mermaid series Celestial Castle eyeshadow palette. I did get this in PR. I did do a look with it. Really enjoyed it. Definitely keeping it. I don't know if I should really update you on these kinds of palettes that I got in PR from a series that I already tried. In a way, it's like a new colorway of something that I've already reviewed. I also don't know if I should put this in my ranking of all of the eyeshadow palettes I have tried in 2024. Let me know what you think about that and let me know what you want to see. Here I have the 3 Kika Milano and Sarah Sampaio eyeshadow palettes. I am still reviewing these. I haven't done another look with any of these, but I do really like the quality. They are a little bit on the expensive side, but the quality is really nice. This one is Dazzling Sunset and the shimmers in here are really beautiful. Then here I have Dazzling Drama. Really love this color story. I really love these types of purples. I am dying to do another look with that. And then here we have Dazzling Daydream. I have, I think, tried all of these shades in these palettes, but I just want to give them another go just to see like how I feel. This is a Roman Quad from the Enid Square collaboration. This is the one in Black Spectrum. This has 2 kind of like iridescent shades and 2 kind of like sparkly charcoal shades. Pretty cute palette. I still have to update you on this one. This is the Unearthly Cosmetics All I Ever Wanted palette. I do really love the shimmer formula by Unearthly Cosmetics. That's why I bought it. It's a palette that's a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's also like all special shades. I haven't reached for this one that much yet. I thought I was gonna reach for it more, but I don't know. I feel like because it's not a full look in a palette, like it's a companion palette, sometimes it's not really what I'm going for when I'm reviewing other things, when I'm trying out, testing out other things. But I just really have to dig into this a little bit more. But in a way, like I already know that I love this quality. I really love the shimmers from this brand. I want to do like 2 or 3 more looks with this, just playing around with it a little bit more before I update you on it. But yeah, it's taken a bit too long. I've had that for a bit. Then this is a Nomad Fuji 5 Lakes eyeshadow palette. This is a deep eyeshadow palette that they came out with, I think in September. Really love the quality of this, really love the shades of this. The only reason why I'm not ready to update you yet is because I still have to try these yellow shades. I haven't had a look with those yellow shades yet, and I just have to think of how I want to incorporate that. But so far, I'm really liking the palette. I love the packaging. Then this is the Glam Shop Santorini eyeshadow palette. I do like the quality of this, but I feel like the color story isn't super inspiring to me. I have another palette from them that I bought very recently, and that color story is just a little bit more for me, a little bit more up my alley. I do like just how my looks come out, and I do get compliments when I wear this. I just have to do another look trying these blue shades a little more because I've been doing some neutral looks. I think I'm one of the few people that doesn't like a brown crease with a blue shimmer that much. Like, I don't know what it is, but I don't really go for it. And that's kind of like what we're getting in this palette. I am of course keeping it because I still have to update you on it. Then I have here the Sigma Ambiance palette. I got this one in PR. This is a very warm, toasty, neutral palette. I did a look with this doing a full face of Sigma Beauty because they did send me like a full PR package with like a full face. I really love the quality of this. I have to get into this a little bit more. I am not as much in a rush with this to test it out for you because it's an older palette. And I usually try the newer palettes first because a lot of people are kind of like waiting to see if they want to buy it. And this is a little bit of an older release, but I did really like the way this blended. The mattes, the shimmers were really beautiful. But yeah, keeping it for now. I'm gonna update you on it in a new makeup updates. This is the Unearthly Cosmetics Night Terror color palette. This is the 9-pan palette that was in a mystery box. I do really love this color, so I do really love this quality. I love these kinds of purples. I am done testing this and I'm gonna give it a good review in my next new makeup updates. This is the What's Up Beauty Geodes palette. This is quite a nice soft pastel-y palette. I bought this one myself. I think this is a pretty cute color story. The thing with these shimmers is that they do need a little bit of something to help them stick to the eye. A little bit of glitter glue, a little bit of a spritz of setting spray, which means I don't reach for it a bunch, but I do like it. I do like the color story. I'm keeping it. Like, the packaging is also really cute. This is the Essence eyeshadow palette that was in their advent calendar, the Make My Heart Sparkle advent calendar. I think this is fine. Like, not all of this was amazing in this little palette. Like, this shimmer was really like luster. You can do a look with this that is pretty cute. I don't know how long I will actually keep this in my collection. I feel like there were other products in that advent calendar that I liked more than this one, so I don't know if I will keep it in the end, but I still have to update you on it. This is the Revolution the Icon Metallic Muse eyeshadow palette. I recently did a video on this. These are always pretty difficult to open, so I always use just my tweezers. And this is a really nice kind of like cool toned eyeshadow palette with some really nice shimmers. I do like the selection of shades that we have in here. I do love kind of like this combination of pinks and then grays and cool tones of purple in there. I really enjoyed the look that I did with this, but yeah, still have to test it out a little more. These are the Revolution Forever Flawless palettes that I recently did a video on. The Cherry Rebel one, I think it's gonna be my favorite. I did another look doing just like a cool toned, soft, smoky eye. Really loved it. These are not perfect palettes, but I do like the colors, the variation, the options. There are a lot of nice formulas in here. I do like the mattes. There are a few like more subtle shimmers, but if you kind of like mix and match or build them up a little bit, it does become quite a beautiful look. I don't know, I did enjoy these, and these are only like $11.99. So this was a Cherry Rebel, and here we have the Forever Flawless Astra Nova, and this is a little bit more like green, purples, some muted shades combined with some pastels, which were pretty pigmented. I did like the look that I did with this. I think especially for the price and just getting these fun color stories, I'm pretty excited about these. This is a pretty like standard neutral palette. I did like the look that I did with this. Like, I'm probably gonna keep all of these around after my update as well. I did really enjoy these. This is an eyeshadow palette from the most recent collection by Flower Nose. This is from the Cloud Color Butterfly collection, and I have here 03 Intense Purple Haze. I did buy this one myself. Quite liked it the first time around. I have to do like one more look, I think, to make up my mind to see if there's not really like a difference. Suddenly things aren't blending or something like that. I think I'm gonna be keeping this one around after the update as well. Like, sometimes you review things and you have to keep it in your collection for a little bit to be able to do that review, but you just know that it's not gonna be for you and you're gonna declutter it as soon as possible, as soon as you're doing another declutter. This is the Unearthly Cosmetics Spring Magic eyeshadow palette. I do really love the options that you have in here. I think it's a really fun color story with some neutral shades, but also some pops of color. This is gonna be in my next new makeup updates. Really, really love that palette. And just the Unearthly formula is one of my favorite formulas in my collection. So I don't think I'm gonna declutter any of them, at least not from the newer palettes. We'll see. This is the Essence and Up collab palette that I'm still testing out. I did one look, quite enjoyed it. It's not super special, but it did work quite well. This is the NYX and Home Alone for Holiday 2024 eyeshadow palette. This is the Ultimate Battle Plan eyeshadow palette. And I did quite enjoy this formula. I felt like the mattes worked pretty well. I felt like the shimmers were pretty sparkly. I do have to say that this is a kind of dry sparkly shimmer, and I did do a look where I tried to use a shimmer first and then blend kind of like the matte on top. Then you're kind of like just blending away all the sparkle because it's kind of like drier, it's laying on top more, so if you blend it, you blend the sparkle. So you have to do kind of like the mattes first, and then just like with a finger or like wet a brush, tap that on top and just leave it. I feel like I want to do like maybe one more look and then I'll be ready to put this in the new makeup updates. This is the Catrice and Finding Dory collection eyeshadow palette in 02 Great Barrier Reef. This is a more like warm rosy palette. It looks more pinky in the palette than it does in kind of like swatches, and on the eyes it gets pretty warm. I do quite like this formula. I have been enjoying this. I think I did a short with this if you want to see like how this looks on the eye. So far I really like it. It is a very mid-tone palette though. There's not really like a deepening up shade. This is a cake liner, so then the deepest shade is something like this, so that's not very deep. But I do really like this formula more than in other like Sister Love collections. This is the Catrice and Finding Dory 010 Just Keep Swimming eyeshadow palette. This is a more cool tone one. I quite enjoy this. Once again, pretty mid-tone. I don't mind it because I like my mid-tone looks, and there are some like lighter shades to still keep that contrast in the look. Quite enjoyed this formula. I just want to do like a few more looks with these. They are pretty new in my collection. Then we have the Catrice eyeshadow palette from the Advent calendar. This purple shimmer really kind of ruined my look in my video on the Advent calendar. I do like the mattes. I did another look with the mattes and then with like something else on top, I believe, in another video. I have to do another look with some other shimmers just to see if all the shimmers work the same as that purple, or if this is just a dot that kind of like ruins the look, and if you ignore that, like the rest is good. I do like the packaging of this. I do like the whole vibe of that Advent calendar, and I do like the color story here. This is the Huda Beauty Icy Nude eyeshadow palette. I did a look with this and I haven't touched it yet since. By the time you're seeing this video, I might have done way more looks with these palettes, but this is where we're at right now. I do like this color story. It's not a perfect palette. I mean, we have a silvery pressed glitter in here. I'm never going to use that. I do like that we have some lighter shades. I have heard some people saying that those lighter shades do show up a little similar on deeper skin tones. I do have a quite light, fair to light skin tone, especially in the winter. I'm really fair, so I don't think I'm gonna have any issue with that. This is quite a nice iridescent shade. I have a video up on this if you wanna like hear more thoughts about it. This is the Ansley Rain Cosmetics Cold Moon eyeshadow palette. I finally got it. Like, I just got this. I did one look with this. I did really like the look that I did. It's an interesting color story, and I've always been a little confused about this palette because how cool toned is it really when a lot of the shifts in the shimmers are very like warm and golden, and also we have some olivey shades where I'm like, is it truly cool toned or is it more just like a really soft shade? So I'm kind of like taking my time. I'm gonna do some looks, I'm gonna see how I really feel, and I might do another short with this actually, and I'm also gonna show you some swatches. I haven't done that yet in a new makeup updates video. Then these are the Master eyeshadow palettes by Kiko Milano. I recently did a video on these. I think this is my favorite formula Kiko Milano has ever done. I just put on some hand cream and now I cannot open these. Alright, so these are the Master eyeshadow palettes. This one is Master 01. This is a more cool toned one. And this is 02, which is more warm toned. This is, as I was trying to say, I think my favorite formula Kiko Milano has ever done. These are also pretty affordable. I believe these are like 22.99 euros here in the Netherlands. I really like that these palettes go from light to deep. Some really beautiful satin shades in here that are not trying to be a shimmer. They are really like a matte with a sheen, and I love that. I feel like they blend so well. I feel like they look so flattering on the eye. I haven't really seen personally that kind of formula. I'm really excited by that. The shimmers are really beautiful. Some of them are a little softer, some of them are really sparkly. I'm really enjoying these. I think these are gonna end up really high in my yearly ranking. This is the Midsummer Fairy Tales eyeshadow palette that I got from Flower Nose. I bought this one myself. I have updated you on this, and I think the formula of this is fine. It's quite nice, but it's not really my color story, and I think I am gonna let go of this and see if somebody else wants it who likes these colors more. But this is a palette that I tried this year, so I'm gonna keep it around until the end of the year in a separate basket to be able to rank it. Is this my first declutter? I guess it is. This is the Kiko Milano Holiday Wonderlights eyeshadow palette. I have a video up on this if you want to see it. This I tried recently. I have to do another look with this. It is quite a nice palette. It's not perfect, but you can do quite a cute look. So that also counts for something. Then here I have the Swan Ballet series eyeshadow palette by Flower Nose, 01 White Swan. I got this one in PR. This is a really nice peachy, soft color story with some really nice shimmers. I'm keeping it. This is the Swan Ballet in Pink Swan from Flower Nose as well. I bought this one myself. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes currently in my collection. I just love this. This is really like my vibe, my thing. I love pink eyeshadow. I love shimmery shades like these. This is amazing. I'm keeping it. This is the Kaleidos Quad in Venus Trap. This is a quad that I use a lot. I really love these shades. This is a really, really sparkly, almost pressed glitter looking shimmer. It's something I don't reach for a lot because it's so impactful, and when I use these shades I want a more like natural look, but I go into these mattes a lot, so keeping that. Then this is the Dirty Martini eyeshadow palette by Glamlight, and this is kind of like olivey green with some softer shades as well. I feel like it might be time to let this one go. I never reach for it. I kind of kept it for these softer greens, but I think I might have that somewhere else. But even if I don't have it somewhere else, I never reach for this palette. The quality is nice, but I just don't personally need this. This is the Flower Nose Moonlight Mermaid series, a 5-color jewelry eyeshadow palette in Moonlight Sand. I got this in PR. I'm keeping it. I think this is a pretty nice palette. A nice combination of taupes and blues. This is the Lost Kingdom eyeshadow palette by Clarity Cosmetics. I have a video up on this. I really didn't like this formula because there are a lot of shimmers in here that are so crumbly. I didn't enjoy it. This shimmer is really, this is a satin. It's so lackluster, and then this is super crumbly, this is super crumbly, and this one. I haven't done another look with this. I kind of feel like I want to do one more look. But also I kind of feel like I don't even want to do it to myself. This one I still have to update you on, so I'm gonna keep it around for now, but I don't think I'm gonna keep it after that. Alright, this is the other Glam Shop eyeshadow palette that I own, the Violetem eyeshadow palette. This is a kind of a cool tone, neutral, mauve purple eyeshadow palette. I did really enjoy the look that I did with it. Did I do another look already? I think I did another kind of like neutral look with this. I love eyeshadow palettes that have color, but also some like cool tone neutrals, where I can just like go into the cool tone neutrals if I'm going to work, if I'm going shopping, if I'm going to meet a friend, and then I have these options with it where I can go a little softer or a little bit more colorful. I've been really enjoying this so far. This one I also still have to update you on, but don't worry, we're getting into like the older palettes where I'm gonna be decluttering a lot. This is the Enchanted Autumn palette with Makeup Just for Fun and Fantasy Cosmetica. I really enjoyed the look that I did with this in my first impression. I think this is a pretty cute color story. It is very mid-tone, but there's just something about these tones and about just the kind of like murkiness, but not being like super warm toned, that I do really enjoy. I do feel like this is for me a little bit of a like companion palette because it doesn't go super deep, it doesn't go super light, but I do really like the options that we have in here. Do also really like the shimmer formula that we have in here, so it's a really nice palette to kind of like start out with trying Fantasy Cosmetica. Alright, this is the eyeshadow palette that I got in the Makeup Mystery Box collab with Caitlin Coslow. She sent me this kind of like rainbow palette with a few neutrals here as well. This is the biggest palette I think I have in my collection, and this is the only rainbow palette that you're gonna see that is really like this more classic rainbow palette, because I don't think that rainbow palettes are needed for me in my collection, because there are always shades in there that I don't use. I'm pretty particular with the shades that I like to wear. And so when brands come out with rainbow palettes, I usually am not interested. I do love that I have this to kind of like try it out, see what it does for me, see how it works for me, like have one rainbow palette in my collection to just have those options. But I haven't really dug into this more. Like I've done one look with this and I have swatched it, but I have to like try this out a little more. I tried kind of like these blue shades, but there are also some neutral purple and like mauve shades that I still have to like dig into. But I am a little like overwhelmed when I'm looking at this palette. I'm kind of like, there's so much going on here. What do I even do? How do I even get through this palette? And also this is an older palette, like this is not a new release, so I don't feel like the rush to try this. So only have done one look. I have to like try this again for sure and do an update. I think this is gonna be the last palette that is still kind of like in my to review pile. This is the Revolution Burn Book eyeshadow palette with their Mean Girls collection. I really love the packaging of this. Like it's squishy and it just fits the vibe really well. I do feel like this palette is pretty nice quality. I do like the formulas in here. I do like the color story, but everything I do with it, like every look I do with it, pulls pretty warm and doesn't like really suit me. I feel like that is the case because like these more like starting to build the crease with colors, they pull quite peachy on me. So in the end, I don't think this is gonna be my perfect palette. And even though I really like the formulas in here, I don't think this is gonna be one that I'm gonna like keep in my collection for a long time. But I do really like what they did with this. I do feel like it fits the theme. I do feel like the quality is nice. I realized I forgot this one. This is the Romand and Inep Square Pink and Black quad. This is a pretty cute quad. Does it really knock my socks off? I don't know, but I'm still gonna update you on this. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this around forever. I don't know if it's like special enough. And I feel like I have a lot of these shades already. Okay, these are the two quads I got from the Kiko Milano and Bridgerton collab. I believe they had 3 quads, I only got 2. This is the one that has kind of like this purpley shade and then some neutrals. This is Ballroom Bliss. This was my favorite. I am keeping that one. This one is the one in Romantic Rhapsody. This one wasn't my favorite. I thought this one was good quality. I have told you in videos that this was good quality, but I felt like the look didn't really like inspire me. It looked super good on me. Sometimes it's really in the little things. I think I'm gonna declutter this one, just also because I need some space and I don't feel like I really need this. And I think this is a really great one to like gift to someone. These palettes were a collab with Onen's Eye and different creators. I don't know exactly what this was called again, like Legendary Diverse as something. This was the Onen's Eye and Lauren Sea Talk palette, and this is a really pretty palette, but I'm never really inclined, I never really feel inspired to grab for this one. I'm kind of thinking, should I or should I not get rid of this one? I think I'm gonna declutter it. I don't really see myself reaching for this one again. This is the Planet Spirit palette by Onen's Eye and Betty Jean. I actually really enjoy the tones that are in here. Like, I'm not gonna use every one of these tones, but I think this is such a fun palette and I love having something like this in my collection. Then here we have the Flora Story eyeshadow palette by Onen's Eye and Makeup Just for Fun. I think I'm gonna keep it because I do like the tones in here. I do like the purple shades. This is the Lunar Beauty Moonshroom eyeshadow palette. He came out with this in the spring. This is not 100% my type of color story, but I did really enjoy it in the end, more than I thought. There are some really nice shimmers in here. I do really like the options that we have. Like, you can go a little bit more cool toned if you want. I'm keeping this one. This is the Onen's Eye Oud eyeshadow palette, and I have kept this for quite a while. And a part of me does really enjoy this color story. Like, it's fun, it's different, it's special, but I also feel like I have things like this that are not as old that I would probably use over this. I think I'm gonna declutter this one. This is the Flower Nose Strawberry Rococo Violet eyeshadow palette. I did really enjoy it. I'm gonna keep it. Here we have the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Fairy Lights eyeshadow palette. We have some really nice toppers in this. I'm gonna keep this one. This is a Glaminatrix Cosmetics Silent Night eyeshadow palette, and This eyeshadow palette, I didn't really love the mattes in here, but I did really like the shimmers in here. Is there a way? I think I can take out the shimmers and just put them to the side, like put them in a different like magnetic palette. I think I'm gonna do that. So this palette is gonna be decluttered, but I'm gonna take out the shimmers and combine it with something else. This is a Juvia's Place, the Blushed Rose eyeshadow palette. I really love this one. I'm gonna keep it. This is the NARS Climax eyeshadow palette. This is a this is a fall color story that really has that fall vibe, and I think because of that I am gonna keep it for another round. This is the Fall Magic eyeshadow palette. This is an older one. This is from when they were still Alien Cosmetics and it has been remastered. I think I am gonna be keeping it because I do really like the fall vibes in here. I don't really reach for it, but it just gives me the vibes, and sometimes you just have to keep things for the vibes. This is the Let's Get Nude eyeshadow palette by GlossGods. I came out with this year. I quite like the quality in here. We have a really nice kind of like multi-chrome shade. I'm gonna be keeping that one. This is the First Gal in Jupiter GlossGods eyeshadow palette. This is my favorite eyeshadow palette from them. Also one of my favorite cool toned neutral eyeshadow palettes. Like if you're looking for something cool toned, but you don't want it to be pink, at least if you ignore this one, it's not pink. This is great. I love the formulas in here. Absolutely beautiful. This is the Nabla Side by Side Nude Baby eyeshadow palette. This is the last eyeshadow palette that they've come out with, and this eyeshadow palette has come out like over a year ago. I do quite like the quality in this. A little bit of a pinky brown, not super cool tone situation, like very neutral. I'm gonna keep this because Nabla is a brand that I do review a lot. This is the New Neutrals Remixed eyeshadow palette by GlossGods. One of my favorite neutral palettes in my collection. Do love kind of like that hint of green in here. Do love the formulas, keeping it. Alright, we have a lot of Colourpop, but Colourpop is not a brand that I really buy from, try from a lot anymore. It's not anything personal. It's just that I have to get it from the States. I have to pay high shipping and taxes, and I don't enjoy doing that. This is the Wine and Only eyeshadow palette, and I do feel like these types of reds suit me, but still I don't really reach for this one. I think I would reach for it more often if it were combined with like lighter shades, more pastel shades, maybe with a pink. I do love red and pink. I think it's time to declutter this one. This is the Colourpop Strawberry Shake eyeshadow palette. I recently told you that this is probably one of my oldest eyeshadow palettes or like makeup products in my collection. I do really love the colors in here. I do really love the looks that you can get from this, like these softer red and softer pink tones. I don't know if I should still keep this. I did love it so much. I did do so many looks with it because I do love that soft pink and peach combination. I think I'm gonna put that in the maybe pile just to see if there's something similar in my collection. I do also have the Blushed Rose that I just showed you. Like these are similar tones, but it's not that much combined with a lighter peach, but I am sure I have something like that in my collection. I'm gonna put that still in a maybe pile because it also has some sentimental value. This is the Lilac You A Lot by Colourpop, and this one I don't reach for a lot. I do like these tones. Like this is a really nice color of purple. I really love that undertone, but also the new Glam Shop palette has kind of like this tone of purple. Do I still need to keep it? It is older in my collection. I never really reach for these. I think it's time to let go of this. I think there are just other formulas that I own. I think I have things that I will reach for over this one. I know I do because I never reach for that one. This is the Colourpop Coaling Coconuts. And this one is one of my favorite neutral palettes in my collection. Really love this like tone of neutral. Really love this Cocoa Crush shimmer in the middle. I'm gonna be keeping that one probably until it expires. Like this was hyped for a reason. This is the Colourpop Fleur by eyeshadow palette. It is quite a nice mauve color story. There are some nice shimmers in here. Do I really reach for it a bunch? The answer is no. And I think I have other things that I will reach for over this one. So I think I'm gonna let go. I think I'm gonna declutter almost all my Colourpop because they are older and I don't really review Colourpop. Like nobody's asking me for a Colourpop ranking or anything like that. This is the Vintage Glam Remix by GlossGods. Like, this stuff I love. Like, this I will reach for over that palette that I just showed you. Like, this is amazing. I love it. One of my favorite eyeshadow palettes in my collection is the Unearthly Cosmetics Dreamer eyeshadow palette. This is a type of color story that I love. Neutrals, pinks, purples, grays. Like, this is what you get me with. This is the Kiko Milano Beauty Essentials eyeshadow palette in 02 Earth Sides. And this is quite a cute eyeshadow palette. I quite like the shades in here. I love the formulas. And I think I'm gonna be keeping that one. This is the Unearthly Cosmetics Charmer eyeshadow palette. I got this year, like they released it this year. I think it was also in some sort of mystery box. I don't know if did I get a box with this? I don't really remember, but we have some bright purples in here. We have some nice shimmers. For me, it's a little bit of a companion palette, but I think I do want to keep this because I do really like the formula. There are nice shades in here, it's just I don't really use that on its own. This is the Kiko Milano Mood Boost Matte for Color eyeshadow palette. This is really beautiful, but also, am I still gonna reach for this? Like, it's really like this fantasy. Like, I did some really nice looks with it, but am I ever really gonna go back to that? I feel like these shades just work really well with my eye color, but they are also kind of like on the warmer side. Like, this is really like this soft red shimmer that is really beautiful. I think, all right, I had to change my card because it was full. I don't know exactly what I was saying, but there's kind of like a fantasy with this palette, like a look that I did that I really loved on myself. But I think it's like too specific. I'm not really gonna go back to that. And I think I have other ways I can achieve that. And also this is just an older palette. It's a limited edition palette. Like, there's no way you're still gonna be able to buy it if you see me wear this. So I'm gonna declutter that one. This is the Kiko Milano Blossoming Beauty Enchanting eyeshadow palette. I actually go back into this one for the look that I get with this and this. So this is still kind of like a fantasy. Like, it's a very specific look that I want to do, but I do actually once in a while do that look. And it's a really nice, just soft, everyday look for me. So I'm gonna be keeping this one. This is the Kiko Milano Sweet Affairs Guilty Pleasure eyeshadow palette. And this one I have kept because it gives a really nice kind of like soft look. Like, these are softer shimmers, softer mattes. And I do like the way that looks, but I think the master eyeshadow palettes and the satins that we have in there and the different formulas that we have in there have kind of like given me an option for this type of look that is still available and that is even a little like better quality than this. So I'm gonna be decluttering this one. I have quite a few things left from this collection, so I don't really need to keep the eyeshadow palette. This is the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye eyeshadow palette. I got this one in PR. This is a really beautiful eyeshadow palette with really like nice and shifty shimmers. I do really like the mattes in here. I would have loved if this had kind of like a green or something or a blue to really like make it a little bit more like out there, a little bit more cohesive, but I do understand why they did this. This is a beautiful palette. I'm keeping it. This is the Gloss Supreme eyeshadow palette by Kiko Milano. This is a beautiful formula. I really love the tones in here. Really just love the shimmers in this and just that pop of lilac. I'm keeping that. These are the Let's Pop eyeshadow palettes by GlossGods, and these shimmers crease on me pretty badly. Even though I really like the color stories, they just don't really work on me and I don't really know what's going on with that. I think I want to keep them around just to see if I can make them work. Like, maybe there's some other way I can do that because I do really love the color stories. I mean, these softer shades with this kind of like a deeper burgundy brown, I just really love. So I'm gonna keep them around, try and make them work. If I'm too lazy to make them work, I'm gonna declutter them next round, but I'm just gonna give them one more chance. This is the Kiko Milano Gold Reflections eyeshadow palette. This is in 01 Golden Sunrise. I quite enjoyed this palette. Don't know if it's gonna like survive for super long because I don't feel this is as special as some other palettes that I have from Kiko Milano. But for now it can stay. This is the Glaminatrix Sugar and Spice eyeshadow palette. This is a pretty cute palette. It isn't my favorite from Glaminatrix, but it doesn't have anything to do with the formulas or like the quality. I am definitely keeping this, but I don't know if I will forever. This is the Spring Dragon eyeshadow palette with Odin's Eye and Judy. Really, really love this one. I'm keeping it. Such a nice pastel eyeshadow palette. This is the Neutrals eyeshadow palette by Cosmic Beauty. I really, really love this color story, even though it's a little bit more on the warm side. Love the shades, love the options. Like, this is stunning. Love the formulas as well. Keeping that. And then of course we have the Cool Trolls that I also bought at the time. This is really nice. A very blue leaning, but this is a type of blue that I do like because it's a little bit softer, a little bit on the like cornflower blue side. Definitely keeping that one. This is the Lands of Enchantment eyeshadow palette by NC Rain. I do really love the quality in this. Like the quality is amazing, but this palette, this doesn't fit in my drawer and it irks me. Like I don't know where to store this, but it's so beautiful. I'm gonna keep it, of course. I paid like 100 euros for this. This is stunning. I love the tones in here. Like you can go softer than you would maybe expect, and I do love the pastels. Definitely keeping that. This is the Glaminatrix Barely Basic eyeshadow palette. Recently reviewed it, gave it a good review. I really like the quality in this. I really like the tones in this. These middle rows are not like perfect for me, but I do love them combined with the more cool tone shades. This is a really nice eyeshadow palette. This is the Colourpop Dead Stove eyeshadow palette. One of my favorite neutral eyeshadow palettes in my collection. I reach for this one a bunch. This is the GlossGods Smoke and Mirrors Remix eyeshadow palette. They came out with this like 2 years ago, I think. This is pretty nice, but these two darker gray shades, they don't work very well. I don't feel like they blend well. I don't really like them. And I feel like the shimmers in here are not like special enough, different enough to keep this one. I feel like the other palettes I have from GlossGods are just way better. So I'm going to declutter this one. I have been on the verge of decluttering this one since I got it. I have used it a bit since then, but I feel like now it's time. This is the Kiko Milano Stella Love Cosmic Gaze eyeshadow palette in 02 Under the Starry Sky. Really beautiful formula. Really love the combination that you can do with this. I am keeping this one. Alright, I still have to update you on this one. This is the High Temp eyeshadow palette by Unearthly Cosmetics. It took me a while because like these shades, like that orange and that like yellowy orange are not my type of shades. I did want to try like a full palette. This bone row really love, and then that's combined with the reds and then a light yellow, love it. It's a kind of like a specific way I like to use it, but it is a really beautiful palette and one of the more affordable ones from Unearthly Cosmetics. This is the Lunar Beauty 12 Days of Luna eyeshadow palette. I do think these are pretty good quality, but also I don't feel like this is as cohesive in a color story as I've seen from Lunar Beauty before. But this is a really nice packaging. This is just a standard pen size. Maybe I can just play around a little bit with different shades, like putting different shades in here and making my perfect color story. I think I'm gonna do that. So I'm not gonna declutter this, but I'm gonna play around with this a little. Then this is the Unearthly Cosmetics Surrender eyeshadow and pigment palette. I think this is their older formula. Like this is their formula before they kind of like did a bit more of a like rebrand, revamp of their formulas and had like crazy shimmers. But this is still really nice quality. I do really like the combination here. I do really like the lighter shades combined with that red or like a deeper like maroon shade or brown. So I'm gonna keep this because I do really like it, even though it's no longer available. Next up I have here two eyeshadow palettes from the Flower Nose Little Angel collection. These ones I bought myself. This is 01 and these are pretty cute palettes, but I didn't find the mattes to blend on top of each other like perfectly, but I think I'm still gonna keep them because I love the look of them. And I don't know, I still see myself using them, but just in a very particular way. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty First palette that I tried last year, and this was fine. I thought this was fine. I think I'm gonna declutter it and see if someone else wants this. This is the Catrice the Pure Nude eyeshadow palette, and this seems pretty boring, and in a way it's pretty boring, but just the way that it looks on the eye. Every time I use this, I think it looks so flattering, so I'm definitely gonna keep that one. This is the Kiko Glamour Multi-Finish eyeshadow palette in 04. Ooh, I kind of forgot I had this one. This is a palette, it doesn't look like much, and when you swatch it out, it doesn't look like much, but then when you apply it, it actually looks pretty cute. I think I'm gonna keep that one for now. This is the Moonlight Mermaid Series Jewelry Eyeshadow Palette in 01. This one I bought myself. I really like this one. Beautiful shimmers. I am keeping this. This is the Kiko Milano A Holiday Fable Ethereal Eyeshadow Palette in 03 Surreal Destination. Beautiful shimmers in this. Beautiful companion palette. I think I'm not ready to let go of this. I'm gonna keep that. This is the Catrice Fall in Colors eyeshadow palette. This is one of the best eyeshadow palettes Catrice has ever done. Love the quality in here. I am keeping it. This is the Fantasy Cosmetics eyeshadow palette in Crazy Rhythm. I got this one in PR. I am gonna declutter this one because this brand hasn't released anything in years. And I don't hear anybody talking about it. Don't feel like this is super relevant. These are the original 4 Icon palettes by Makeup Revolution. I've done a first impression doing a look with each of these. And I do really like these. These are great quality. These have really nice shimmers, work really well. I even like the cream eyeshadows in here. So definitely gonna keep them for now. This is the Onusai Hummingbird eyeshadow palette with Onusai and the Fancy Face. This was from the first round of the Legendary Diversa collection. I think this is a beautiful palette, but I never reach for it. I think I can let go of this one. This is the Red Dragon eyeshadow palette by Onusai and Judy. This was also from that Legendary Diversa collection. I have kept this for a while because I really love the whole vibe of this collection, but I think I can let go of this one. I never reached for it. It was a limited edition. And I don't know, I just, looking at it now, I don't feel that connection anymore that I did feel like my last round of declutters. Like I have so much. I have these shades. If I want kind of like a warmer toned look, I do have a lot of options for that. Like it feels kind of like makeup history, but I don't want to hold on to too many things with that reason. However, this palette I am definitely not letting go of just yet. This is the Giant Wolves eyeshadow palette by Onusai and Annette Oberstadt. And I do really love this color story. I do love the vibes. I do love what she did with this. I've done so many beautiful looks with it. This is such a fun palette to me and just a color story that really inspires me. So definitely still keeping this one. Here I have 2 eyeshadow palettes from the Avatar The Last Airbender collab with Lethal Cosmetics. They are coming out with another eyeshadow palette or a collection. I'm so excited for it. Probably by the time you're seeing this, it has already been revealed. This is the Air palette. I love this one. I think this is a great quality palette. I love how soft this is. I don't really use like these 2 shades, but the rest of it plays so well together. I love the shimmers, definitely keeping that one. And this is the Water eyeshadow palette. I love these shades. I love the combinations. Beautiful shimmers. I also have the Earth somewhere. I don't see it right now. This is the Essence Harley Quinn eyeshadow palette, and you can get quite a cute soft pinky look with this. I think I'm gonna keep it for now actually for that, because like that is a pretty nice look. Like this palette could basically be condensed down to like half of it, and because you cannot get the same look from all of these shimmers. But I think I'm gonna keep it for now. This is the Catrice The Joker eyeshadow palette, and it looked very promising, but in the end I didn't really love the quality of this one that much. Like this Mayhem shade is really beautiful. Like there are some beautiful like more like single shades in here that I could in a way in theory see myself reaching in for, but that is kind of like if I had less eyeshadow, and I do have a lot of beautiful sparkly shifty eyeshadows. So I'm gonna declutter this one because it wasn't perfect for me. It was a little bit finicky, hard to use. Still love the packaging and the vibe. This is the Beauty Bay Botanical eyeshadow palette. This is the first time that I tried the Beauty Bay formula. I do really like this eyeshadow palette. It is a little bit on the softer side. It is a little bit on the mid-tone side. I have done a lot of looks with this that I did really enjoy, so keeping this one. This is the Catrice Generation Joy eyeshadow palette. I remember not loving this one, and I feel like Catrice sometimes is coming out with eyeshadow palettes and then it's something like this, and then they're like, see, eyeshadow palettes don't sell well, but this is not what I want. At least this is not what I want from them. Like this wasn't great. Gonna declutter that one. This one as well, like this wasn't great. This was the Seeking Flowers eyeshadow palette. I really hated this formula. It was really hard to use. I don't understand this palette at all. Like give me a good eyeshadow palette, Catrice. I'm sure it's gonna sell well. I'm sure people are gonna be excited about it. I just get a little disappointed. Like I want more eyeshadow palettes from them. I want more eyeshadow palettes from Essence, but they're not always giving me what I want. This is the Moonlight Mermaid series eyeshadow palette in Mermaid's Dream. And I did buy this one myself. I'm keeping it. I do really like this shade. Like I go into this shade quite a bit. This is the Revolution Hyper Real eyeshadow palette. I feel like my Revolution journey kind of like started here. I was kind of like getting interested in this. And there are indeed some pretty nice shimmers in here. Like, it's an all shimmer palette. I did feel like this one was a little bit creasy, but it's a really like putty shade, but like these shimmers all are pretty nice. I'm gonna keep it around for now, also because I'm just kind of like getting to know Revolution and kind of seeing what I like from them, what I don't like from them. Then I have here this Essence Love Luck and Dragons eyeshadow palette, and actually I quite enjoy this one. The quality of this is really nice. I do like the shimmers in here, but do I see myself reaching for this one again? I don't. So I'm gonna declutter this because someone else will enjoy it more than I do, I'm sure. This is the Glamlight Red Velvet Cupcake eyeshadow palette. I've had this for quite a while. I never reach for it, but I kind of want to, but because the shimmers are nice in this, it's a nice palette. Can I let go of this? Like, this is actually like, it's up my alley. It's my type of thing. I'm just gonna keep this one more round. I know I'm not very strict with my declutters when I do that, but if I want to keep it, I'm gonna keep it because I paid for it. This is the Chocolate Martini palette by Glamlight, and even though I really like this palette, I think there are some really nice shades in here. I think I'm gonna declutter it. Also because like the golden shades in here, they kind of like throw me off. Don't really like it with this palette. Yeah, I think it's time to let this one go, even though I really like the quality. And this was basically like the last non-collab collection that Glamlight did. I miss them. I miss that time. This is the Kiko Milano Days in Bloom multifaceted eyeshadow palette. And this is in 02 Green Serenade. And this is such a beautiful packaging. Really love it. Kind of like luxury inspired, and this is a pretty cute palette, but it's not really anything revolutionary, legendary, absolutely amazing. Like, I would keep it for the vibes and for the packaging. I think I'm gonna let go of this because I'm sure I can give this to someone who sees this packaging and is like so like excited and mesmerized by that. I think I might even be able to give this to my mom because she doesn't like super shimmery shimmers, and these shimmers aren't shimmery. I think she will like this. I enjoy decluttering things when I already have someone in mind. This is the Mighty Monster palette by Onasai and Annette as well. This is from their second round. I do really enjoy this formula. I do really enjoy like the colors in here. Like, this one I'll probably not really use, but like the purple look you can do with this, the teal look that you can do with this. I do like this palette a lot, so I'm keeping it. This is the Nabla Cutie palette in Analog, and this is kind of like this chocolate brown with some warm tones palette. This overexposed shade is really nice. I'm keeping this. This is the Full Fantasy eyeshadow palette by Lunar Beauty and Laura Lee Los Angeles. I love this palette. I'm keeping it. This is the Avatar The Last Airbender Earth palette. This is a little bit warm and green for me, but the shimmers in here are amazing. You can get a little bit more of a like chocolatey brown look with this as well. I'm definitely keeping it because the vibes are amazing. I love Avatar The Last Airbender so much, and the new quality of Lethal, amazing. Then here I have the Dragon Fruit eyeshadow palette by Cleonate Cosmetics and Emily Violet Marie. I really like the quality in here, but the quality of the packaging is just terrible. I've done nothing with it. I haven't dropped it. I haven't done anything, and it's just, it's falling apart. I think at some point the lid is gonna come loose. I do really like the shades in here. I do really like how fun and like fruit themed this is. I'm gonna keep it for now. Probably gonna keep it until it like truly falls apart, and then we'll see. Alright, we're on to the last basket of palettes. These are what we're still gonna be talking about. Okay, next up we have this Kiko Milano Bright Quartet eyeshadow palette in 02. This is pretty good quality, but it turned really like a weird shade on me. I didn't really enjoy it on myself. It just doesn't suit me, so I'm gonna declutter this one. This is the Kaleidos and Angelica Nyqvist Club Nebula palette. I am never getting rid of this. Like, even if this is a way past expired, I cannot see myself getting rid of this. Usually I don't keep things for sentimental reasons, but I just have to with this palette. This was just so perfect. Such a shock. I was so emotional when this was announced. I was so excited. And I still think this is a really beautiful palette. Like, one of the most beautiful palettes I've ever seen in my life. The packaging also amazing. Never getting rid of that. Then here we have one of my favorite palettes in my collection. This is the Glamonatrix Cosmetics Rich Romantic. I believe they recently brought it back. Love the purples in here. Love the shimmers. This is such a beautiful palette. I love this light pink shade. Stunning. This is the Nabla Quad that I bought from their September collection like about a year ago. I didn't really love the mattes in here, but I do kind of enjoy those shimmers. I am gonna be keeping this around. I actually bought the holiday collection from them where they had this bundle for Magic Chrome shimmers, so I'm gonna give this another go. Like, this is a normal shimmer, this is a Magic Chrome shimmer. Maybe I can even put some of these in the Lunar Beauty palette. Like, that palette would be really easy to swap things out in. I'm just gonna play around with it a little bit, but gonna keep that for now. I can see myself decluttering those mattes though. This is the Catrice Natural Spirit eyeshadow palette, and I have kept this through a lot of declutters, and I do really like the fall vibes, but I feel like at this point I do have a lot of great fall vibes eyeshadow palettes that I'm gonna reach for over this one. And I do have another Catrice eyeshadow palette, and I do have some more options for Catrice eyeshadow if I want to do like a full face look or anything like that. So I'm gonna declutter this one. This is the Moira Endless Moonlight Celestial series palette, and I do really like the color story of this one. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like every time I wear this, my eyes just feel a little irritated. And I don't know what it is about it, but I think I'm gonna let go of this. Also Moira, I kind of got into them, but they haven't really become like a staple brand on my channel. Like, I will try some things here and there. I don't think it's really necessary for me to keep this one. This is the Colourpop Blue Moon eyeshadow palette, and I think I'm gonna keep this one also because I don't have like a lot of blue eyeshadow palettes, and this is like a true blue palette, and I do see myself going into this, but this could be one that goes the next declutter. I wouldn't be surprised. And this is a Glaminatrix Cosmetics Nearly Natural eyeshadow palette. I got it when it first came out. They are bringing it back, but there might be some changes. They might change the pen size and a few of the shades. I did ask you a while back if you wanted to see more looks with this, but if they're gonna change it and I don't know exactly what's happening, I feel like it's a little risky. I don't want to show you looks with shades that they no longer have. I love this palette. This is a great palette. If they bring it back, the way this one is, I highly recommend it. One of my favorite palettes in my collection. One of my favorite neutral palettes. And yeah, this is just amazing. I love Glaminatrix eyeshadow formula. Like, they do a lot of great eyeshadows. This is the Honest Eye and Angelica Nyqvist original Hella palette, like the first one they came out with. I don't think this is my favorite from her collabs, but I do enjoy it, and I think we have some fun looks here. I do really like this kind of like greenish yellowy situation here, which usually I don't really go for these shades, but with this palette I do really enjoy it. I am definitely gonna keep that for now. This is the Creator Balance Gaze Defining Eyeshadow Duo Ready Set Go by Kika Milano. I kind of forgot that I had this. Whenever I wear this, I do get questions like, what's on your eyes? What was up with this? Like, what was going on here? Do I need to keep this? Well, I can keep it for one more round. Let's see. This is a Strawberry Shortcake Berrylicious palette by Glamlight. This has some really beautiful shimmers, and it does have some really bright shades. I think this is not my perfect eyeshadow palette, and that someone will enjoy this more than me. Like, the quality is really nice, but it's just, it doesn't have any light shades, and that is just not something that I reach for. So I think I'm going to declutter this one. This is the Honest Eye and Angelica Nyqvist Little Ghost palette from their Halloween collection. And I do really enjoy this one. I wouldn't really wear that orange, but that is the case with most palettes that have kind of like an orange thrown in. Love the purples in here, I love the blues in here. I did give this a really good review, really enjoy this palette. This is another one of my favorite neutral palettes in my collection. This is a Side by Side Nude palette by Nala. I wish they would do more like this. I wish this was still a thing. I think this was one of my first videos I ever did on my channel, and this has just since then been such a staple in my collection. Do love the colors that we have in here. Do love that we have these different rows of different tones. Like, this is also such a nice packaging. I really love this one. I wish we got another one of these, but with different tones. But it seems like they're not really doing eyeshadow palettes at this point, which I'm kind of sad about. Like, they used to be such an eyeshadow palette brand, but now they're doing all of the products, which I do get. Like, lip and cheek products is just what's selling right now. This is the Christmas Eve eyeshadow palette from Onutai from their first round of holiday palettes. I really love this one. I'm keeping it. Like, this is such a good palette. I love the pops of yellow with the purple and the blue. This is the Honest Eye Norns eyeshadow palette. This is my first palette I ever tried from them, and I do really love these shimmers that we have on the bottom. Like, these shimmers are so bright and so fun. Like, I love the duochrome and the shine in them, but at the same time, do I ever reach for them? And do I still need this palette? This is the first thing that I'm swatching, but I think I have things like this, but I'm just not really realizing that it's the same thing. I think it's time to let go of this one. Like, this is just an older palette. It feels like an older palette, and looking at it, it just screams, this is an older palette to me. So yeah, decluttering this one. This is the Nimya eyeshadow palette by Nikki Tutorials. This is a brand that I do review when they do makeup, but they don't do like a lot of makeup. She has been sneak peeking that something glowy is coming, so we'll see. I don't know about this palette. I think I'm gonna keep it, but it's not my favorite. I feel like there are some things missing. There are not enough options in the shimmers for me that I would want to pair with these mattes, but yeah, gonna keep it for now. Another one of my favorite neutral eyeshadow palettes in my collection is the Luna Beauty Nude Prism eyeshadow palette. This is stunning. If I want to look good, if I want to look pretty, if I just want to look great, I go for this one. Like, this is one that I go in time and time again, and there are a lot of palettes in my collection that get neglected, but this one definitely not. This is the Unearthly Cosmetics Warms My Blood eyeshadow palette. I bought this thinking it would be a little softer. It is a really beautiful palette, really great quality, but it's a really like harsh, contrasting color story. I do love the shimmers we have in here. Like, the shimmers are really, really beautiful, but I never really reach for it because like the overall color story is just not for me. I think I shouldn't have bought this. I think I got it on a pretty good deal. And I also don't think this is the new formula, but I think I shouldn't have done this. I think I'm gonna declutter it. I didn't think I was gonna declutter Unearthly Cosmetics, but I just have to be realistic. Okay, we have a few palettes left. This is the Luna Beauty Eternal Eclipse eyeshadow palette, and this is quite a beautiful eyeshadow palette. We have some quite nice cool tone nude shades. This is the older formula, and I'm kind of thinking if I still need this. I think if I'm realistic, I'm probably not gonna use this. I'm gonna declutter this one. I didn't expect to declutter this one, but it is time. I'm gonna do it. Alright, the Siren Sunset palette is a newer one in the Luna Beauty line. This one does have the newer formula, and I feel like there are some similar shades in here that I would use over that one. So yeah, now I'm feeling like extra good about my decision. Definitely keeping the Siren Sunset. This is the Moonspell Volume 2 eyeshadow palette by Luna Beauty, and I kept this because, you know, there are quite a few fun looks to do with this. I do like the purples in here, but I think it's time to let this go. Like this, I just nicked it. Whoops. Okay, let's ignore that happened. It's not too bad. But I like the purples in here. I do like some of the shimmers, like this Luna shade, but I think it's time to let this one go. Like, these were things I got in the Luna Beauty mystery box, and I'm happy that I got the mystery box because it got me into the brand, and I do really love the brand. But it's also like, it was clear that they were some older, maybe less exciting products. So yeah, this is gonna go. Alright, this eyeshadow palette is an older one in my collection as well. This is a Glamlight Ice Cream Dream, and I have really enjoyed doing looks with this. I have done a lot of really nice looks with this, and I have really enjoyed a lot of looks, and I think it's time to let this one go. These pastels are not really light enough for me. I enjoy something like the Spring Dragon palette from Honest Eye that is just a little bit lighter. These are a little bit more like mid-tone. I kept it for kind of like these rosy brown shades, which I did really enjoy, but I don't really reach for specific shades usually that often. So it's time to let this one go. Shocking. I'm shocked. And then the last palette, this is gonna be Declutter. This is the Sugar and Grunge palette by Blend Bunny Cosmetics, and I know that everybody loves this brand. This was my first time trying the brand, and this is a beautiful color story, and I know that everybody loves this brand, but these shimmers crease on me really badly, and I don't know, I didn't feel like the mattes were my perfect matte formula. There's something very specific that I'm looking for in the look of a matte that I can't really even like put my finger on. I can't really describe it, but sure, these were blendable, buildable, easy to work with, but they are not my favorite type of matte anyway, and then I don't have shimmers in here that I like to use, so I think it's time to let this one go. All right, I'm gonna do some organizing, I'm gonna do some counting, and then I'm gonna come back with my final results, the final numbers. So I decluttered 31 eyeshadow palettes, and 8 of them I bought this year, and I am keeping 110. I started out with 141. You know what? I'm just gonna show you what I decluttered. All right, these are the palettes that I decluttered that I bought this year. And then we have older palettes that I decluttered. And the rest is in this box as well. So I think this has been my biggest number. The most I've decluttered in a eyeshadow palette declutter. I'm pretty happy with this. I feel like I will have some space again. I do like having options with eyeshadow palettes. I'm pretty excited.